What's up, my people? You're back here with another podcast slash video with your boy. Facts with reason. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to get straight into it. Today's topic is all about Romelu Lukaku. Obviously, as we all know, he's basically just about to sign for Milan on a loan deal with no obligation to buy from Chelsea. And I just want to get into the nitty and gritty of Romelu Lukaku, really, and get you guys' opinion because obviously, we've all got different opinions and we all love a debate, right, about footballers. But for me, Romelu Lukaku is a big flop. This time he's come back to Chelsea again. Yeah. As we all know, Chelsea signed him from Anderlecht. He came, he didn't really get a chance under Mourinho, fair enough. He went to West Brom, done crazy, went to Everton, came back, went to Man United, done nothing there. And what I don't understand with Lukaku, every team that he joins, the fans somehow they always come out and say, "Oh, we never played to his strengths. We never played to his strengths." Why do we always have to play to his strengths? How can you go to 6 or 7 different clubs and everyone says, "Oh, we never played to his strengths"? I need someone to tell me what his strengths are because from when I watch him, maybe it's just my opinion. At the end of the day, someone might say, "Actually, no. You know what? He can do this. He can do that. He can do this." For me, I haven't seen it, but Lukaku, he came out in the interview. When was it? Through midway through the season, or the season just gone, about how he missed Inter Milan and he's been fit, but the manager hasn't been picking him for Chelsea. He doesn't know why. Blah 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 blah. But hold on, you got injured. Kai Havertz was doing all right up top for Chelsea as a false nine, and it was suiting the Tuchel system at the time, right? Now you're talking like your Benzema, Lewandowski, Aguero of old, even Harry Kane. All right, Harry Kane hasn't won nothing, but we all know Harry Kane's better than Lukaku. Like when Chelsea bought Lukaku, I said to my friends and other people, you do not buy Romelu Lukaku to win you a Premier League. Italy, yeah, cool. You can win the Italian league because the teams are not as levels as the Premier League. It's not as competitive. It's a good league though, and it's getting better. It's actually starting to get better finally. But Lukaku can go to Inter Milan and he bullied it. Plus, he had Conte, who's an elite manager in my opinion, and he was playing up front with Martinez, who's a bad boy striker. So it worked well for him. He done his stuff. But I was looking at him in the Champions League, and he only scored 2 goals. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he only scored 2 goals for Inter Milan in the Champions League. I know he scored in the final in the Europa against Sevilla, but at the end of the day, you're spending almost over 100 million on a striker that really and truly he's not going to win you a league. Lukaku can't get you 20 to 25 goals a season. He's a certain striker that is suited to a style, and if you don't play that style, then he's not going to suit your team. At Chelsea, Tuchel doesn't play that style. He likes to play 1-2s round the box in the channels, pass and move. Like there's so many times when I watch Chelsea this season in the big games, and actually I watch every football match, so I saw quite a lot of Chelsea games this season. And when Lukaku was playing, he'd put his hand out like that and run. But the Chelsea players would look at him and be like, "Nah, I'm not playing that pass. I don't trust him." Why? Why don't they trust him? For us, we only see on a match day what happens. For them, they train every day. Now, for anyone who's played football, when you play with a player that you don't really have confidence in, you do not pass the ball to them. Or you look at another alternative because you're thinking, "Oof, if I give the ball to him, their touch might be a bit, you know what I'm saying, a bit ropey." Now, I'm not saying that's what happened at Chelsea, but it's pretty weird how every time Lukaku put his hand up or made a run, and don't get me wrong, some of his runs he made were good, but some of them were brain dead. Like for a striker, it was brain dead. His capabilities was poor, poor. I'm thinking, where are you going? Where are you running to? The defenders are sleeping. They're literally just having a day off because they know raw Lukaku's coming. And for such a big bloke, he doesn't bully nobody. I know everyone was like, "Oh, they weren't liking him to Drogba because of his physique and all that stuff and whatnot." But he's not a Drogba. He's not a Drogba. Drogba could bully man and play and score goals on his own. Lukaku, he only really scores. I know everyone says, "Oh, he don't get crosses into him," but if you look at his heading stats, he hasn't even scored that much headers. He's basically a flat track bully. If he gets the ball and he can run at you, and when I say run at you, he needs a good like 20 yards so he can actually sprint because his first two touches normally go away from his body. Then he brings it back in and then comes at you like a train, and it's like raw. Okay, couple step over, bang, goal. See what I'm saying? But just for me, in my opinion, spending 100 million on Lukaku for him to go back to Inter Milan next season, and he hasn't done nothing for you, for Chelsea fans this season, or the football club, should I say? He has not done nothing, nothing. All I can remember him doing, he scored against Aston Villa, come off the bench. He scored against an Arsenal team, but that Arsenal defense was all over the place that day. Plus, it wasn't even their starting 11. I'm sure Pablo Mari played that day, and I'm pretty sure he's at Udinese right now. So that shows. And obviously, you can only play against the players that you play against, in it. So Lukaku, bro, phone dropped. But Lukaku, like, he came out and gave his interview, and I'm just thinking, bro, there was no need for you to do that. There was literally no need for you to do that. It's reckless behavior. Like, it's really reckless behavior. Because then as your teammates, they're gonna see that and think, whoa, hold on a minute. Why is he coming out and saying this now? Cool, we get you loved Inter Milan and you wanted to say, like, sorry to the fans, you didn't want to leave, kind of thing, but we had to because of financial restraints, blah, blah, blah. Cool, cool. You say that. But if you're going to talk, you need to back it up. You got to back it up. You got to be on like a good 15, 16 goals for the season and you're firing on all cylinders. And you could be like, oh, I want to come back one day, but obviously my job is at Chelsea right now. But all of these players, when they don't get picked, they love going out there and doing interviews like they're some elite footballer. There's a reason why you're not getting picked. Obviously, your manager don't trust you. Tuchel saw Lukaku and didn't trust him. The question is, did Tuchel want Lukaku? That's the problem. Because obviously Chelsea bought Werner. Everyone thought, oh yeah, Timo is going to come in. He's going to be that striker. He's not. He's dead. Dead, dead, dead. So they thought, all right, let me get Lukaku, target man. You get me? He can do this. He can do that. He's that like one missing piece that Chelsea were missing at that time. Not for me, but a lot of people I've spoken to said, yeah, we need Lukaku. He's that big link up. He can do this. He can do that. But it came back down to it. He was on the bench and he was getting games against Luton and Middlesbrough. And I mean, come on, come on, come on. If you're big Rom, you're big Rom. Now, I know there's going to be people that's going to be like, nah, this guy's got an agenda. He actually hates Lukaku. I don't hate Lukaku, but I just think people need to realize his ceiling is not that high. Yeah, he's got 100 goals in the Premier League, which is good. Anyone who scores 100 goals in the Premier League, it's a feat. Like, you can't argue that. But how many goals has he scored against the Big Six? How many goals has he scored against the Big Six? And it's not that many. It's not as many as you'd think. You'd think, raw, Lukaku, like, you know what I mean? He must have scored like a good, like, 20. When you think about how many teams he's been at in the Premier League as well, from Chelsea to West Brom to Everton to United to back to Chelsea. Like, he's been at a lot of clubs in the Premier League, and his goal tally is not good. I did have the stats before I dropped my phone and bust the screen on the floor, but just like, look, so you look at his Chelsea have spent 250 million on strikers over the last how many seasons? They bought Lukaku for 98 million. He played 44 games, scored 15 goals. Not good enough. 60 million on Morata, who is dry. I don't know, whoever his agent is doing well because he always seems to get good moves to good big clubs, and I think he's pathetic, really. But they spent 60 million on Morata, 72 games, 24 goals. Not good enough. Then they bought Torres. We want to have that one, went not good at all. 52 million, 177 one games, 45 goals. Pathetic. And we all know how Torres was at Liverpool. If you watch football back then, you knew Fernando Torres, baller. But when he went to Chelsea, everyone was frightened. We all thought, raw, Torres at Chelsea, with Lampard and all them guys. But it didn't work out. And then obviously they bought Shevchenko prior to that. He was 40 million, 77 games, 22 goals. So there's obviously a trend at Chelsea that when it comes to signing strikers, they're not good at it. They're not good at it. So I don't know, like, were they that desperate for a striker that they really went for Lukaku? If there was like another 5 or 6 strikers on the market, would they have gone for Lukaku? Would Lukaku have been in that top 5 or 6? Probably not, because you could see from the way Chelsea were playing, as soon as he got injured, Chelsea played better. It was more fluent up front, and the people was moving in. Pulisic, Ziyech, Mount, Havertz, even Werner. Every now and then was doing a little, you get me, a little drop of the shoulder, a little speed, drifting through men when Lukaku left. Hence why he couldn't get back in the team. Now, if it went the other way when he was out of the team and the players weren't doing nothing, then you say, all right, now we need Lukaku back. We're missing that piece because when he was in the team before he got injured, he was doing loads. And now he's out. We've had to adapt to a different style and it's not working. But that never happened. So for Lukaku, he has to adapt himself. He has to adapt himself at the end of the day. If when Aguero at City, when Pep come in, he weren't playing Aguero because he said, "Raw, you're not playing my way, Sergio. If you want to play if you want to play for Man City, you've got to play my way." What did Sergio do? He knuckled down and said, "All right, cool. I'm going to play the Pep way because I want to be at this club." Lukaku comes out and starts giving interviews about how he wants to go into Milan and do fools of this and fools of that. That's cool, bro. That's cool. Go to Inter. To be honest, he might even go into this season and win the Serie A title and take it back from AC Milan, which would be interesting. I'll be there to watch that. That's for sure. But I'm just thinking, like Lukaku, 98 million, Premier League. He's definitely when you think when I've been watching football from the 90s, yeah, early 90s, 95, I started watching football. From what I can think, correct me if I'm wrong, like I said, write down in the comments and let me know. But I think he is the worst, the biggest flop in Premier League history. When you think of the money and the outlay that he's come back with for the for the person that he is, then people claim to be like, oh yeah, he's this guy, he's that guy, he's a world class striker. He's not. He's never been a world class striker. He's been a good striker. He's been a very good striker, but he's never hit that elite level. He's never hit like a Suarez, Aguero, Lewandowski, Kane, Benzema. You could go back to Rooney, Drogba. All these guys, he's not couldn't even touch their boots. He couldn't. He couldn't. Now I know he went in and like I said, he ripped it up and he done his stuff, and that's fine. That's fine. And they'll probably go this season and he'll probably rip it up because Inter Milan's team's looking quite dangerous. Dybala they're going to be signing and they signed some other players who I can't think of at the moment. But he came to the Premier League. He had a point to prove again because at Man United he was pathetic. His foot was a trampoline. Balls were bouncing everywhere. It was just a mess, an absolute mess. And no one can tell me that United didn't play to his strengths because he messed up bare times. You pumped the ball to his foot, boom, pound, boof, back to the halfway line. You put the ball up in the air for a header. He can't get off the ground because he's too big to jump. Right. So I'm not trying. I don't want to hear no excuses on him. He's come back to the Premier League because he done well in Inter. Scored over 15 goals in the league season. Fine, that's cool. Got to a final in the Europa League. That's fine. But he came back to prove a point to say, you know what? For all you guys that doubt me, like me, not just me, but people like me, to say, you know what? I'm gonna show everybody why I am Romelu Lukaku and why my name should be spoken in the terms of Benzema and Lewandowski's, etc. You came, you saw, and you didn't conquer. You were awful, my brother. Awful, awful. Now, like I said, write your comments down below. I know people are gonna say I've got an agenda, and maybe it does sound like an agenda, but that's what I see with my eyes. When I look at other strikers from present to the past, Lukaku's not going to be spoken of. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. In 10 years' time, when Lukaku's retired and stuff, no one's going to talk about Lukaku. No one's going to be like, oh, do you remember that guy, Lukaku? Do you know what I mean? 10 years' time, people will still be talking about Ibrahimovic and that, oh, I remember Ibrahimovic. He was a baller, you know. But Lukaku, you're just going to be like, oh, he had so much more potential, but I don't think he's ever fulfilled his potential. Like his best season really was at Inter, and before that, it was at Everton when he was playing with Ross Bartley, Roberto Martinez, and that. Even for Belgium, I know he's their top goal scorer, which is cool. And like, again, you've got a record. That's fine. That's fine. But in the big games, how many times has he scored against the big teams? Not many. Not many. It's less than five goals he scored against the big teams. And all the tournaments that Belgium have been in, and they normally go in as one of the favourites, and they never get nowhere. And when they're shifting him to the right wing and playing Mertens or someone through the middle, that can't. That's you don't put Lewandowski or Benzema on the wing. unless Ronaldo's there, as you saw at Real Madrid when Benzema was playing. But now he's gone. Look, he's the main man, and he just won the Champions League with Real Madrid. Those are the levels that Chelsea obviously thought Lukaku they could take them to. But I'm not gonna. Don't get me wrong. I said, oh, you know what, Chelsea they could probably give City and Liverpool competition this season because their team's good. And Tuchel's. I didn't rate him. I didn't rate Tuchel. I didn't rate him. But he shut me up. He silenced me. He silenced me. I thought, you know what? Nah, you're a bad boy manager. You're a bad boy manager. I like it. I like your system. I like the way you play football. Like, I like it. It's good. But for Lukaku to come into his team, it just didn't. I didn't get it. I didn't get it. And when everyone was saying to me, "Yeah, he's gonna come and win us the league," Chelsea fans, he's gonna win us the league. Did you see that season that he had it at Inter with Conte and da 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 da? I'm like, yeah, but Italy, man. And this is Lukaku. He's been in the Premier League how many times? And he's never smashed it once. He's never smashed it once. So, yeah, get down in the comments. Let me know what you think about it. Obviously, you've heard my outtake on Lukaku. So, yeah, I'm just giving, like I said, I'm just here to give my opinion. I like a little debate. So if people want to come on the chat on the comments and be like, "Oh, you got agenda," and start reading off stats, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know again in the comments. Go follow me on Twitter on Talk All Football. Like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be bringing more content as well. As I said, just practicing at the moment. It's getting used to everything, but don't worry, it's going to get big and it's going to blow. All right. So yeah, thanks for tuning in and let me know what you think in the comments, people. Yeah, wicked.